Hey, what's up YouTube, Skybadger here, and we are back at the end of day 4. If we have a quick look in game info, we can see there's only 49 minutes until day 5 begins. Having a quick look in the index of nations, we can see that we are in 13th, but by the end of the day, I suspect we might rise, maybe just into the top 10 or be around 10. Everyone around us has made a bit of progress, and there's a lot of progress happening around the world as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if we end up in a big group of players around 80. So at this point in the game, there's roughly about 10 players that have already been destroyed or are on the verge, and then there's another 5 that are getting pretty close. So I suspect that, we may rise a little, but I won't be surprised if we stay where we are, but within a similar group of people. So the stat for yesterday, that I'm not sure if I showed off, was World's Mightiest Armies, and we didn't make the list. So we'd be on 1% like everyone else, but because we were fighting for Zimbabwe, we didn't quite make it. So when I left off last time, we were having a look at how things were going over here with Lordcake. So things were going good for Lordcake. He managed to successfully win most of the battles down here, but then North India joined in. And Lordcake has been lucky enough that he has been able to hold on to most of his territory. Although he has lost a few cities and had one crippled, he has since captured one down here, and looks like he's rebuilding it. And that looks like a pretty good win, to be honest. If he gets that tactical bomber, he's going to be set. It doesn't look like South India has any more runways to build them from, so that is a pretty good victory right there. Now, he has been doing a lot of running around North India, and as you can see by the morale, this is why we use morale map, guys. We can see exactly everywhere Lordcake has been. We can see that Lordcake's one armoured car has been running all around up here, driving through cities, crippling cities, damaging them, and that's the only thing that's keeping him in the fight, is he has still 2 production sites, and his opponents are limited. As we can see, although they control one here, he's crippled one here as well, he's captured one here, he's slowly dwindling the number of industrial centers they have, and if he keeps it up, despite the fact he doesn't have many troops left, he should be able to come out on top. So if we have a look at that, for example, we can see that he has 13 troops, which is not bad, slightly more than us. So if we come down here, we've moved into Zimbabwe, and we're now in Central Africa. So back on us now, as we can see down here, our ally in South Africa is fighting a war against Southwest Africa with the help of, we're going to call him Ben, because I could pronounce it if I tried, I'm sure, if I look at the pronunciation, but I'm too lazy. So, with the help of Ben. And that's been an interesting fight so far. I'm not stepping in because both players offered to help me and have helped me of recent, so I'm going to leave this one down between them, and I'm going to stay purely neutral on this, just out of respect to how they've helped me over the last few days. So, it's also a good thing that we do that, because if we come in here and we have a look at where I am, this gets really annoying. Actually, I'll go based on points because I know we're set about 8th. Madagascar, there we are. If we have a look at ourselves, we can see that we only have 24 units. You start the game with 20, and over the past 4 days, I've somehow managed to end up with only 4 more troops. And that's been due to fighting and capturing this land. So, as things go forward, I want to move up into here and I want to capture Somalia. I want to stay out of this infighting up here because it is pretty messy, and I don't want to offend people because these guys did help me earlier, so I don't want to help them out now by backstabbing them. So, I'm going to stay neutral and stay out of this for now and just work on building up my economy. We managed to capture 3 industrial sites, and they were all damaged, but we're slowly rebuilding them and getting them back on top. So as we can see here, I'm just about done rebuilding this one, and this one here is nearly done rebuilding as well. We're having a little bit of shortage for rear, but luckily I've been able to get some through asking for it on the market. And this is generally a pretty good idea, guys. So as we can see at the moment, I have plenty of food, so if I come into here, we sell some food. Yep. And then we go back into the market and we go to rear, guys. I need rear to build industrial complexes, but I also need metal and goods, so to rebuild that other industrial complex, I'm gonna need a lot. So I'll place an order for that later as well with the other stuff and use the money I'm getting from surplus food to fund it. So the reason I'm doing that at the moment, guys, is I really need to get these industrial complexes up so I can make up for the lost troops. As we can see, we didn't even show on the day 4 stats for the largest armies, and that's not good going forwards because you need an army to win. But the good thing is, because a lot of our army was crippled and we lost a lot, we are replacing it with more efficient units. So over to the next point, in the newspaper for day 4, which I didn't show, and we will have to wait for it to load. I think it's just the 100-player map that does this, eh? It's really annoying. If we have a look at ourselves, we can see that we were hit badly by spies. And if we come down even further, we can see that they came from Burma. I'm not sure what this was about, but I think he just made or did it by mistake. I don't know how he would have any means of fighting me. It would just be symbolic. And annoying. I'll state that now, very annoying. So we managed to capture a spy from Burma. Now the problem is, I have no reason to believe Burma is going to attack me, which is really hellishly annoying that he's deploying spies. But luckily I've captured them and I at least know where they're coming from, so I've been able to deploy more counter-espionage, and hopefully over the next few days the counter-espionage will mop up the remaining spies. And then I can turn them elsewhere, and at least try to get an understanding. Now, from what I've seen, because I have shared maps with Lordcake, is he does have troops, and we can see them here. They're not upgraded, and that's fair enough at this point, because we're not too far into the game, but I suspect he has a lot of troops still here in the area, and he'd be using them to defend, or at least expand. So as we can see, he's expanded out here. So although he is deploying spies against us, I'm unsure of whether or not to expect an invasion. So with that said, if we come down to here again, I've still got my aircraft out patrolling the ocean just to make sure nothing comes in, and I've got a few troops along the coast. So that's how that's going to play out. Going forwards, if we have a look in the research tab, we're researching infantry level 2, we still have a lot of infantry on the map, and because we have a large amount of food and a good food production, infantry is going to be one of our main standard units, along with light tanks. In terms of air research, we have tactical bombers and interceptors, and we really need to start producing them, but we don't have the industrial complexes. Because we're a navy as well, I have researched destroyer and submarine, and I'm pumping out roughly 2 submarines at the moment, but as soon as I get this industrial center here working, I'm going to begin reconstructing the naval base, and then quickly flip over and fix that air base, and while I wait for the air base to flex up, build a sub here. And I'll use this to produce tactical bombers when they're ready within the next day. So as we can see, I also started building another runway, and the reason I started to do that is so that once again, by the time we need it, we can start producing our air force, and we're going to need that as well. The reason we need a navy is because we're an island, and I need a way to secure my ability to send troops over into the mainland. And because at the same time, as we move up here, we now open ourselves up to invasion from the Middle East. And although I do not believe it to be likely, and I do not believe it will happen, we have to be ready for the chance that it could happen, an invasion from the players in the Middle East. As we can see, these players here, where did they get that? That's from Greece, that's all good. Syria and Iraq have already moved down south into Saudi Arabia. And it only makes sense as they move down south and they find that the majority of their forces are down here, they may try to jump into Africa as the next logical step, because of course all their armies are down here. It would take time to shift them back up north. The problem that does arise with them doing that though is there is still a lot of infighting in Europe, and depending on the alliances, if they don't send much troops up to defend, they're going to find themselves in some pretty sticky situations. So that's what's happening at the moment. There's not much more to say. I need to carry on building buildings and upgrading my production, but that's something that we'll probably end up doing in the background. So I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thanks for watching.